radio in Oklahoma.
See it past to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I don't stop my car in Oklahoma. I drive right through as fast as I don't even stop for a sandwich at Panera Bread. I fly right through the state. But I will say I've been critical of Lane Johnson. Richie Incognito, Terrell Owens, Baker. If I'm critical, I invite you on the show, and I always respect. A lot of guys say no. Lane Johnson was willing to come on the show. I have total respect for he, Incognito, T.O., and Baker Mayfield, and via the Coward Global Satellite Network. Lane Johnson, another guy from Oklahoma. Good Lord, that state's got to hate me. Okay, before we get to the nice stuff, I have to confront you on something that drives me crazy. So you have a quote.
Put me on the grill. I'm ready.
Okay, here's the quote. Let's put this up. I'd much rather have fun and win a Super Bowl than be miserable and win 5 Super Bowls, Lane. It's called work.
Does that get you mad?
You sleep for 8 hours. You go home and hang out with friends for 8 hours. Then you go to work for 8 hours. It's called work. Mm-hmm. Does it always have to be fun?
I don't know. Make no mistake about it. There is a lot of work being done here, but at the same time, I like to enjoy the people I'm working with, the coaches I'm working with, and go out there at the end of the day and try to get a win. And most time it goes in our favor, and when it doesn't, we go back to the drawing board and try again.
Well, you watched New England Sunday, maybe. They looked like they were having fun. Isn't winning the most fun?
I mean, absolutely. Winning in this league is hard to do, and when you're doing it, it makes it fun. But just because you're losing doesn't mean you're not enjoying the people and the stuff that you're going through it with. I think in this city, when adversity hits, I think that we respond well. So whenever our critics come at me, I think it fuels us, and at the end of the day, I think it makes us play better.
You did the dog mask thing, and, I'm older. I'm not really a celebration guy. You did the dog mask thing, and listen, you guys won, so it's fun. It was a thing, but you guys are now a target. You're not an underdog. Mm-hmm. So does the dog mask thing work from this point forward? Because you don't feel like a dog to me anymore. You feel like the favorites in the league along with New England.
I mean, I threw the dog mask as well as my Super Bowl ring in the skookle, so that there could be a manhunt for that. I mean, it absolutely means nothing to me at this moment in time. I mean, the only thing that matters is, we had the Carolina Panthers. We're sitting here at 3-3. There's some games that didn't go in our favor. There were some mistakes made by myself, not protecting the quarterback. And, I accept all that. I mean, I've had many troubles in my career. I've had many waves, pushed in my face, and I just try to surf it and go on to the next obstacle.
It is interesting. You were a junior college tight end and defensive end. You go to Oklahoma, you become an offensive lineman, and you get drafted first round, 4th overall. Then you have some PED issues. Then you've been outspoken and controversial. You've had a lot of obstacles. I could make the argument that you're one of the 5 most well-known offensive linemen in the league, and this is all a strategy by Lane Johnson to be known, to get a shoe deal. Could I not argue that this is all great for you?
Shoe deal?
Well, maybe not a shoe deal.
I need some feelers. Nike wouldn't have me. I need some feelers.
But some of this, Lane, you're drawing attention to yourself. You're becoming a name. It doesn't seem to be bothering you. Is some of this strategy by you to get talked about and known?
I mean, I've had a lot of stuff blow up in my face. I think a lot of people were scared to really say how they really feel because of backlash. I mean, I've gone on Twitter after games. I've had death threats. I've had everything you can have. So when you see that over time, you really become immune to it. And as far as being an offensive tackle, really in this league over the past few decades, you only get recognized if you have give up a sack or play bad. So there really is no identity. It's really a trench match in the middle, and then it's a 7-on-7 game with the outside guys. And really, at the end of the day, it all starts up front. And so if I can get my guys motivated, at the stake of me getting criticism, I think it works for the better.
By the way, you're willing to talk about this. There was a strip sack against Minnesota. Vikings beat you, and everybody was saying, oh, boy, yeah. Lane Johnson, he missed that. How does it feel to be an offensive lineman? And, again, nobody talks about you. And then there's a play like that. It doesn't help your team, may have accounted for the loss. What's the rest of the day like for you, the rest of the night? Do you sleep that night? How rough is it?
I sleep. It's really just a technique issue. Really, on that play, I thought a edge defender was coming, overslid. And, that's the intricacies of this game. It's really fine detail. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It's not just sliding, like Michael Irvin says. It's not as easy as it sounds. But really, in this game, this league, you have to have a short-term memory. So after that play, there was nothing else done. I feel like that was really my only bad play in the game. You go watch the rest of it. I'm one-on-one all the time. There is no chip pros around there, really. So, the guy got the better of me on that play, and it only fuels me.
Carson Wentz finally clicked last week. You look like, again, a team when Jason Peters comes back. At running back, you've had some injuries, but you look like a real team. You look like a Final 6 or 7 team in the NFL, which is not a surprise. You got a good owner, a great GM, a great quarterback, and you got good personnel. Carson Wentz is interesting. He comes from North Dakota. Like you, he doesn't go to Alabama, or he doesn't go – I mean, his route is different. Your route is different. When did you know Carson Wentz? Like, oh, this dude is the real deal.
Probably last year. I mean, as things got rolling, I remember when we played Seattle, and he scrambled to the right and made a throw about 50. You remember that throw, 50 or 60 yards?
Yes.
Close to the sideline. And I saw that, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this before. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew he was it. Just the way he carries himself. I know how you like your quarterbacks. Even kill, no emotion.
Don't
get too high. Don't get too low. Yes. You don't have moxie. You don't want to be cocky. You don't have to say anything. Just let your performance speak for itself.
By the way,
that's what he does.
Do you know Baker Mayfield?
I was there right when he was leaving. Yes. Whenever I was leaving, I knew he had that kind of it factor. Just his personality. He was able to get teammates around him, follow him. He had that energy about him. And that's all I knew when I was leaving. And I just kind of saw everything sprout up whenever I was leaving. After all that.
Would you rather have a Wentz personality in the huddle, or would you rather have a Baker personality in the huddle?
Sometimes Wentz gets a little bit fiery. If you run your mouth to him, he'll run it back. And sometimes I do that just to test me. And let me tell you something, he'll come back with some moxie, with some personality. But to be honest, it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I have to do my job. Both of them are great leaders, but there's a lot of stuff off camera that Carson, he's a fiery guy. He likes to get this team pumped up. And, has a lot of charisma when he does it.
Let me tell you something. Your organization, they could have easily nixed this interview. You could have easily nixed this interview, because I know my name in Philadelphia. You guys don't love me. But you came up. The Eagles organization said you can go ahead and go on Cowherd's show, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of heat now here and there. That's the way life works, but it's all about how you confront it.
You were good. Thank you, Lane. Thank you. Congratulations. Cross your fingers. Jason Peters joins you on the O-line, and I'm not that big of a jerk, and I thought you were very, very likable today. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Surprised you. Thanks for having me.
Lane Johnson. He did a good job. He did. I like that. I like him. See, that's the thing.
I told you.
See, I told you. When Baker came on, I was like, I kind of like Baker. And then, by the way, when Terrell Owens on, he's kooky Madookie. But I was like, he's okay. T.O.'s not my cup of tea all the time, but I thought Lane was pretty good there.
Yeah, I told you it was going to be okay.
Did you notice he was in the Philadelphia facility and they had a herd backdrop? I don't know how they're. I thought that was kind of snazzy.
Very high tech.
That was very sophisticated.
Well, it's the Cowherd Global Network. Would you expect anything less?
I was like, how'd they do that?
Very nice.
That was an amazing little secret there, the Eagles. And by the way, a lot of these organizations, Oklahoma City Thunder, Cowherd's mean. We're not putting anybody on with Cowherd. Eagles are like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's not an official statement by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I had Doug Peterson on the show. And I ripped him about his book. Stop writing books. And I had Lane Johnson on. But Philadelphia, I'll say this about Philadelphia. They're not passive aggressive. Philadelphia comes on the show. I rip them, they rip me. I have total respect for that. Oklahoma City Thunder. Cowherd's mean. We're not sending anybody on that show. Look at that.
That was the response?
I like it. Okay, next hour I'll rip Westbrook.
There we go.
By the way, Marcellus Wiley is on our show next hour. That is great. And why didn't anybody